Hey, babe. Hello, all, and welcome to the Affluent Marriage Podcast. You're listening to two money mastery coaches talk about living a rich and full marriage through generational wealth building principles, authentic two-way communication strategies, and everything in between to become a couple that lives in love and walks in wealth. Your legacy begins here. Welcome back to the stateside. Here we are. Good old
God
Maryland.
bless the USA. That's how I feel.
That's how you feel right now?
That's how I feel.
All right.
I love the USA.
Where are we back from?
We are back from Mexico. We were in Mexico for 1 full week. And we were in specifically Cancun. So we're having a good time.
We were
partying it up.
We're actually going to switch gears a little bit. This podcast today, as advertised, because we send out a weekly email and we're going to have things on Instagram that are all about today's podcast. And today is all about, how do we have these, how do we commit to being affluent when you're all in and your partner's not?
Yeah.
Which is a tough conversation.
That is.
And it's not that we're not going to talk about that today, because I still think
I think there's some through ways. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's some through ways there.
Because we're going to talk a little bit about our experience in Cancun and some of the things that, just came to fruition for us, some epiphanies that we had and where we're going in this business. And I think you're going to see some connections being made to that.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I already have some thoughts already.
Where do you feel the conversation leading you? Where do you want to begin, Kim?
Oh my goodness. There's a lot of stuff that happened over this past week, and it's been pretty phenomenal. Something that I did not expect to happen. If you recount how this year has gone and the steps and the decisions and the moves that have been made, I couldn't have pinpointed that. I couldn't have orchestrated that if I tried. And I feel like this past week was a catalyst moment. That's what I keep calling it. It's a catalyst moment that we were able to kind of like emerge as a new entity, right? Which I think we kind of started that when we began season 3, and we have season 4 as a paid season. But season 3, we changed our vernacular to, instead of being a teacher and a business owner, to money mastery coaches, because we recognized, hey, we kind of have some synergy there. We both want to work with couples and making sure they have solid communication around their finances, because if you understand how to communicate with each other around it, then everything else becomes a lot smoother. And so we recognize that passion within us, which was already there. I think it was just highlighted. And then Cancun being there just elevated it to like times 10.
Yeah. If this is your first time listening, then understand that my wife and I just spent the better part of the last week in Cancun on a business trip.
Yeah.
We were there networking and collaborating with other high profile, high earning business professionals, right? So we had a chance to meet them face to face and actually form those physical connections. Because normally when we meet with these individuals, it's online, it's in a Zoom, it's like just a bunch of squares. You often talk about it as like, it's like the Brady Bunch squares. And like, you kind of just look at each other and talk, but it's just like, yeah, there's a name to face, but it's not like a real connection.
Yeah.
And that's what we experienced in Cancun. We made real connections with real people. So now when we see them online, it's like, oh, hey, girl.
Hey, I danced with you on the dance floor. We had a good time. There was a lot of dancing.
We had dinner together. We did all of these things together. So there were real connections that were made. And it wasn't just, oh, hey, girl, hey. Like, it wasn't just talk. Like, we actually.
Oh, there was deep conversations had.
Deep, business-oriented, business-minded conversations. Before we go any further on that, you know what? You know what people want to know about?
What?
Where did we stay? What was it like?
Okay.
Let's talk about
you want to talk about affluence?
We were in Cancun.
We were in the lap of luxury
at an all-inclusive resort. It's called Secrets.
Secrets the Vine, Cancun. The Vine. So if you looked it up, you would know exactly where we are.
So there's no kids. It's adults only.
Which
let's
hold on. Let's just talk about this though, right? Because I think you got to have this perspective of like where we come from. Daniel and I normally do, okay, now we do all inclusive. When we first got married and had our honeymoon, we went to like a timeshare, and there was no like breakfast, continental breakfast. There was, because we couldn't afford that. We got that as a gift. So like,
Thank you, Mom, for the timeshare.
thank you.
We know you're listening.
So we couldn't afford that. So it was a beautiful place. But like the beach it was connected to was like a public beach, and there was just people constantly like, hey, buy this, buy this.
Haggling
That was
you.
our first experience of like traveling internationally, and we had a great time. But it wasn't until I think later on we went on a cruise. That's what it was. I think that was the next time we went on a vacation somewhere. And because even Disney wasn't like all inclusive, you have to pay for everything there, right? So, but it wasn't until we went on the cruise that we recognized what all inclusive meant. That like, oh, food is included. Oh, drinks are I guess for Carnival, semi included. And oh my gosh, like, oh, we could order as much as we want, like that type of feeling. So this was our first all-inclusive resort experience. Okay. So when we talk about these things, if you've done this often, you're going to be like, oh, babies. But like, this is our first experience, y'all. And it was amazing.
Last week, we talked about financial abundance, and that's what it felt like. It
really did.
Abundant. Like there were no limitations when we were on the cruise. And then here at this all-inclusive resort, if we wanted to call, and they called them butlers, if we wanted to call our butler and get room service at 11 o'clock at night, then we did that. The first night I had a margarita pizza. Funny. I had a bowl full of nachos, and I had a warm really brownie with ice cream.
Listen,
that was my husband, my late night meal.
So let me just tell you, okay.
And please describe what I was wearing.
I will.
Thank you.
Before we get there, okay, this is how we got in here. So the connection, if you're watching the YouTube, you'll see us wearing these shirts, right? This is a business related thing, right? So my husband and I invested into this place called the Intentional Success Tribe. Basically what it is a group of very focused entrepreneurs, and our whole focus is collaboration. So it's like you get in there and you get access to an audience, you get access to say what you say, who you are, what you do, a lot of perks to kind of get yourself in front of an audience. And this audience is curated. They're really great entrepreneurs as well, perfect ideal clients to collaborate with or have clients or have cheerleaders with, right? So that's the whole goal there. So I've been connecting with the CEO, like the leader of the Success Tribe, and been connecting with her as the VIP. And part of this program that we're in, where we're able to talk a lot about what we do and enhance how we collaborate, is we get to go to this like experience where we're all coming together to Cancun, and we're able to learn more about collaboration, can actually make those face-to-face connections, and really just elevate business. Like she brings her coaches so we can ask questions about how to build our business. Like it really is insane. So Daniel and I brought like those huge like post-it notes so that we could be writing notes.
It's just those massive chart papers that teachers use when they're writing things in their classroom. But this is like a post-it version. So we brought a whole stack of those, and we were just slapping them up all over the room, and we were just going to town on those.
It was great
with all the net connections that we were making.
It was great. So part of this, the reason why we got the room that we got, is we got a year. I invested in the year-long program, which included this experience. And so when we got into the hotel and we got our room, this room was massive. And I thought everyone had these rooms. No, we were one of like 3 people who got this room.
Yeah, like imagine your standard hotel room, but then, triple or quadruple the size of your standard hotel room.
Literally 2 or 3 times the size of a standard hotel room.
And it overlooks, the beach on both sides of Cancun.
Yeah. And the window was like the door to the balcony was massive.
Double sliding door, like opened, you know what I mean? Just straight down the middle.
It was insane.
Beautiful balcony.
Yes. The bathroom.
Seating out there.
And so, you could call room service anytime you wanted. You had access to the mini bar was all yours. You had a seating area, like literally a couch and chairs, so that, we had breakfast in our room one morning.
Right. The fridge, like you said, the fridge is stocked. There's snacks in there too. And if you want more, you just call your butler, or you walk down to the, that floor's bar area, whatever, concierge or whatever, and just get whatever you want. Take it back to them. It's all included.
Yeah. So most people who are in the standard rooms had to walk down to like the actual lobby to like get food or whatever. But if you are part
which
of
is
this,
still amazing,
yes. But if you're a part of this, I guess, level, you get to go to a level that's specifically for the concierge.
We had our own separate elevators.
Yes, we did.
You've got the floors 1 through 20 are like the everyone else, if you will. And then floors 21 to the top.
Yeah, we're different rooms. So it was a very unique experience.
Very luxe.
Which was funny because I didn't know. I thought everyone had, which I feel like it's such a parallel to so many things, right? You don't even know what blessings, what gifts you already have in front of you because you're just used to it. I thought everyone had this experience until I talked and kind of like, I was talking to the leader of it and she was like, how do you like your room? And I was like, yeah, it's really nice. Like whatever. She's like, that's not something that everyone got, right? And I was like, wait, what? And so she's explaining it to me. She's like, we wanted to, like, as a result of being a part of our year-long program, we wanted to give you this room. And I was like, oh my God, this is so nice. And I thought to myself, like, wow, it just makes it even more special. It was already special, but like, I feel like, wow. And I just feel like there was a lot of parallels to that. But anyway, so Daniel
the first
loved
night, I got a margarita pizza, I got nachos, and I got a warm brownie with ice cream on that first night. My butler delivered it to me at 11 p.m. that first night, which now that I think about it was actually midnight because
we were an hour behind.
So, just casually eating that stuff at midnight.
It's all good.
Describe my outfit, Kimberly.
Okay, so they gave us robes and they gave us slippers. And the turn down service includes like this cute little like carpet rug thing that says sweet dreams and so cute.
And they put like a tray on your bed as well that has
with
like some chocolates and things.
And so I was exhausted night one. There was a lot of stuff going on and Daniel, we were looking at the robes, whatever, and I was like, I'm going to bed. I don't think I'm going to make it to the, whenever the meal comes. And he was like, all right. So he was up watching TV. I fell asleep and I wake up like, 20 minutes later because I heard someone knocking at the door. And I see my husband in his robe and his slippers on the couch area watching TV.
Yes.
And he brings over the brownie and all that stuff. And he's taking the little silver things off of it. And he is just enjoying like a full Macaulay Culkin.
I was going to say it was my
Home Alone moment.
Kevin McAllister. Is it Kevin?
Yes, Kevin McAllister.
My Kevin McAllister moment.
Yes.
It was incredible. Like the nachos were so good. And I'm like, how do I not order this every night?
It was really good.
The margarita pizza was delicious. It was like the brick oven style pizza that they slide in there. And then, man, the warm brownie and ice cream. Like you just can't go wrong.
You can't go wrong.
With a warm brownie and ice cream.
You can't go wrong.
It was just an incredible, incredible, incredible experience. And that was night one. Room service. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's like 6 different restaurants that you can choose from, all different styles of food, all incredible. Order as much as you want, whenever you want.
The breakfast in the morning was really good. We can order
buffet breakfast. There's a lunch buffet and a dinner buffet as well if you want to attend. They had like the downstairs bar. You can get whatever you want to drink, mocktail or
they had iced
stuff.
Coffee. That was my jam.
That was the other place. They had the little like pastry coffee bar.
Yeah, man. They had really good iced coffee, caramel and mocha. And incredible. And then it was such a wonderful experience to see what an all-inclusive resort looked like. And, it was just so much fun to just be around people. I think that sometimes, I love going on vacations with you. Period.
Thank you.
There's no but.
I
love going on vacations with you.
Yes.
Period.
Love that. Thank you.
I also like going with groups because there's just a lot of differing, just perspectives, paradigms. It just changes every night depending on who you hang out with, what you guys are doing.
No, we learned from a very early age. I think we were like 17, 18 years old, and we took a day trip to Ocean City.
No, I think we did that, and we did Six Flags.
And I don't even remember Six Flags. I blocked it from my memory. So we go and we spend a whole day together. And I quickly realized that my wife and I are very different in how we view the beach. Like I had my boogie board, my shorts on, sunscreen. And I'm like, I'm going into the beach and I'm ready to like boogie board and just have fun in the water. And I turn around and look and my wife is just sitting there on a blanket on the beach. And I'm like, are you coming?
Fun fact, I hate the beach.
And she's like, no, I really don't care for the sand. Like I love the beach. Like I love being on the beach and like maybe like reading a book or whatever. But like the sand, nah. And the water, definitely not. I don't want that salt water on my skin.
No thanks.
So I spent a day in the water alone and you spent a day on the beach alone. And then like we kind of like walked around the board. So we learned very quickly that like, I mean, yes, we were kind of separate in that way, but it was a little dull, you know, without other people. It's a little dull. I love you so much.
I love you.
And I could go anywhere and spend a ton of time with you. But I think what I'm trying to say is like vacationing and like, it's nice to be with a group.
It's nice to be with it. It's just nice to be with. We're very social people.
We are very extroverted social people. Like if we ever go anywhere alone again, we're just going to have to immediately make friends night one.
That's legit what's going to happen, especially if it's all inclusive.
Hey, you at the bar.
Right. Especially if it's all inclusive and everybody is just like in a bubble. I feel like it would be nice to, I don't think we've done every single time because the trip that we normally do, right, is Disney. But every single time we've gone, with the exception of one time, we've met up with people.
Right? I wouldn't change that.
I wouldn't change that at all. Like we have an amazing time when we have a group of people, and it's nice to be. It has to be the right group of people too, because you have to know if I want to just be with you, I want to have the choice to be like, we're peacing out.
And for those that have gone on those trips with us, they know, and if they're listening, they know like. And they're probably quite like, wait, Kim and Dan want to be with people? Because when we go on these trips, Kim and Dan are always like, peace, I'm going to do my own thing. It's not, like you got to
just want to have the choice.
We want the choice. Like I love the idea that like if I want to spend dinner with other people, like you included and other people, then I can do that.
Yeah.
But most of the time, yes, I'm just going to chill with my wife and we're going to do our own thing. But we like to be able to like not always be just each other, right?
We don't always like to be with each other.
I think it's a healthy thing to say. Like,
I think, I agree with you.
It's a reflection.
I think it's just because we're just very social people. Right. Like, and but I do like having choice. So I don't necessarily want
because you
people
sit down
with me all the time.
You sit down at dinner and it's like, hey babe, did you enjoy the day? Like, tell me about your day.
You were with me.
You were there the whole time.
You know how my day went.
But when you have friends with you and they went and did their own thing, it's like, oh, you sit down at dinner and it's like, oh, tell me about your day. What were your experiences? What do you recommend for me tomorrow? You know what I mean? Like there's more of that like
the cruise I think was really fun because we went with two couples and that was so much fun because we all kind of like ventured off and did our own thing and then came back together for dinner. And that was so much fun because we all just like the girls just went out afterwards and got cocktails and hung out at the bar, went to the whatever discotheque that was there and like had a good time. And the dudes went off and did their own thing and watched the game. And then it was just nice to be able to have that fluidity of like, we don't have to be together all the time, but if we do, we can't like, I don't know. Anyway, all that to say, this was a very good experience because we had that, like we got to know people. So then we could just be like, hey, I'm going to go, hang out, but we stuck together pretty much the whole time.
Oh, absolutely.
But there was so much to do. So like, just to give you an idea, like on Tuesday, like that we went on a boat pretty much the whole day. We did a brand shooting. We did commercial. We shot our commercial later on, but we did like some branding and all that stuff, some content shoots, and then we went on a boat trip for like majority of that day into that evening.
Yeah, we girl bossed hard that day.
We girl bossed real hard that day, and it was intense. Daniel went snorkeling.
Right, so we got on the boat around noon, and then we went out for about 30 minutes or so to a snorkeling spot. I went snorkeling. Not everybody did that.
I did not.
It was. I will say there was like a strong like current, and there were a lot of waves, so you did need to be somewhat adept at swimming. I'm not going to make it sound dramatic and make it sound like it was a struggle to be out there. Like you were fine.
Yeah.
You had
life jackets on.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not going to drown. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, you got to be somewhat adept. There was one person, I won't say their name, who got out there and then decided, you know what, this isn't for me, and got back on the boat.
That would have been me. I would have been with that person.
So
I would have been
we did that for a little bit. And then we ended up going to like a lunch on, a private beach. And it was incredible. And then we went to a different beach and there was like local shopping that we did. But all in all, it was like a 6-hour day.
Yeah.
I feel like we didn't get back till, no, it was dark. We didn't get back till like 7, 8 o'clock. Yeah, it was dark.
We had a sunset cruise on the way back. And it was
like an 8-hour
nice
day
to be able to, again, be around all these powerhouses, right? So imagine this, right? You're sitting on a boat, you're, going off into the sunset or to a private island, and there's music playing in the background, but you're also talking next to someone who's built a multi-million-dollar business. And you're talking about like, oh, my kid is crazy. My kid is crazy too. And you're having these conversations, but then you also have conversations about, how did you start your business? Oh, this is how I started my business. And like, oh, here's something that I'm working on. Oh, this is what you should do. This is what worked for me. Those types of conversations are happening very candidly. And it's just the song that kept running through our mind is the song from Hamilton, Being in the Room Where It Happens.
Yes.
Because we really got to see how people who are really working their businesses and doing a very amazing job at it, being super profitable and having all the morals that we also share, and being able to ask them questions was, whoa, like amazing. And then on Wednesday, it was all like classes and sessions. And that was pretty intensive as well, to learn a lot and to ask again more questions and it was very interactive. We had to do a lot of like, talking to each other and like doing a lot more networking. But it was really good. It's funny because now everybody that we talk to now, they see us as the power couple.
And we are.
But it was just really great because sometimes that on Facebook or on Instagram or whatever, you try to convey that, but when people see you in real life and they see how genuine that you really are, and this goes vice versa, not just for us, but also for the people we met. It's so much easier when they say, hey, this is what I am. I'm a brand executive strategist. And you're like, yeah, you are. I've seen you in person. You're absolutely phenomenal at what you do. Right. And so the same thing is for us when we say we're the Affluent Marriage Podcast, or we work with, high earning power couples, and this is what we do. They're like, yeah, they do. Like, you need to trust them because, oh my gosh, they're absolutely phenomenal.
So yeah, it's beautiful that everyone there was so driven. Like, you could tell that they were about, it wasn't just a hobby. They were about their business. They were driven to see it grow and be successful. And yes, a lot of the people there were multi-six-figure businesses throughout the course of a year, or multi-six-figure throughout the course of a month. Like like there was one business there that was seven figures in 7 months. Like that's incredible.
Yeah.
So to be around that type of intelligence and that type of drive, it's intoxicating, and you just want to talk to those people and you just glean as much as you can. And yeah, we were different because everyone there was a solo entrepreneur, and we were the only partnership there. Not that people didn't have partners, but you know what I mean? Like, we were the only married couple. There were entrepreneurs there with their like business partner, not their spouse.
Oh yeah, their business partners.
Yeah, you had the solo entrepreneurs with their spouse who was just like a cheerleader, and then you had entrepreneur who had another entrepreneurial partner that worked together, but they're not
business besties.
Yeah, but they're not married. It's not like that. It's not that kind of relationship. We were the only like spouse couple duo entrepreneur in the room, and to see us both be as driven and as desiring to be successful as we are, like, they're like, yeah, heck yeah, this is the power couple. Like, it's not just she's trying to get after it. Like, this guy Dan is like all about it too. And
so this is where I think this part drives back to what we were initially talking about.
Oh, I'm excited.
Bringing your spouse on board when they are not in that mindset. When it comes to money, when it comes to, whatever it is. So I go on networking trips often. Doesn't necessarily always happen like this where I'm going to Cancun, but I've gone to several where maybe it's a local one where I'm meeting with business owners, or maybe it's, connecting. I have done a couple where I've gone to different places and had to meet with lots of entrepreneurs, and thought about inviting him. But I knew that I knew he wouldn't like it. In fact, one point,
I'll tell you, I would not have liked it at that time.
And at one point, someone cautioned me and they said, take a business bestie. Do not take your husband with you to a business retreat, because you're going to be talking a lot about business. You're going to be hearing, stories of people who have accomplished, and they're, sometimes they are trying to sell to you because you have something they have something that you want. But sometimes it's just that you're hearing, motivating stories. And when you come back and you're like, okay, this is what I want to try. This is what I want to do. And you might have these new ideas, and that's all you can think about. If your spouse is not there with you, they're going to be so annoyed. They're going to be like, I don't want to talk about this, or they're going to be bored or whatever. You don't want that burden on you. You want to be able to just completely focus. So there was one trip that I was like, you know what? I'm not going to bring him. And I chose to bring a business bestie. And that was the best decision I could have made, because I my whole focus was talking and talking and networking, and there would have been no time for him.
And I would have been like, why don't you have any time for me? Like, we're here in this beautiful area. Like, why don't we spend time together? And there's just no time for that.
No.
If you would have been in our hotel room, you would have thought that we were plotting like an Agatha Christie murder mystery, or like in real life, or maybe just like a book, because we had these posters on our walls, and on these posters, we literally had written down the names of everyone that was on the trip. And we talked about, what is their business? What are their strengths? How could we potentially form a collaboration with them? If I ever needed a lawyer, this is who
money.
I would call for a contract, for setting up a business contract. If I ever needed, a CF, like anyone, like a CPA or any of these things, like we have names to faces now, and that's the power of it. But it was just so funny and comical to see those all written there, and we're just making these intensive notes about each person. I'm sure the butlers came through for turn down service and we're like, what is happening here? Like, there is a serious plot happening against these 20 some people on this poster.
Yes, it was pretty intense. And like I said, like, that's what we would do.
But that's what we did in our off time.
That's what we did in our off time, right? So like that wouldn't have happened, right? Imagine me doing that on my own by myself. Because if I went there by myself, best believe I would have been in the room doing the same thing, writing down tons of notes, doing content, like really plotting out. I wasn't not there for vacation, right? I was there to learn. I was there to come back with new ideas, fresh, vision, and I was ready to get to work, and that would not have been enjoyable for my partner if they went with me. So now the difference being here is that earlier this year, Daniel decided, you know what, I want to start a podcast. And I think starting this podcast would be really awesome because, it gives you a platform, and I want to be able to offer that to you. And I was like, okay, great. That's awesome.
It really starts earlier than that. I just think the whole journey is beautiful. And I know that we're still in the midst of it and we still have a ways to go. And I'm just so eager and excited to talk about it. But from the beginning of your business endeavors, and I'm talking LuLaRoe and everything like around that time, like I might not have given you a platform at that point, but I was absolutely your biggest supporter
100%.
and your biggest cheerleader.
Yes.
And we would do the most absurd things to make those things happen for you. You said, babe, I want to do LuLaRoe and I want a boutique and we're going to set it up. And I'm thinking about setting up all these clothes on racks or whatever in the master bedroom. And then if people come over to purchase, they'll come into our home and go into the master bedroom, and it's a shop, like it's a store. And I'm like, oh, okay. So where
are we gonna sleep?
Where's the bed go? Like where does our dresser and whatever? And I think the dresser and stuff still stayed in there, or we put it in the other room.
We put it in the other room.
And you were like, well, we're just gonna have to sleep in the living room.
Yep.
I was like, cool. All right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. All right. So we completely took everything out of the master bedroom, moved in the clothing racks, and you did business out of the master bedroom, and we slept pretty much where we're podcasting right now.
Yep. This was our
This was our bed.
Mm-hmm.
And my point in that is I've always been your biggest supporter, and I'm like, whatever we need to do to make Kim successful, let's do it.
100%.
And then this year we took a step, right? It was about 8 months ago. We took a step and I said, you know what you're doing is incredible. You're so wise. You're thriving. You're growing. We need to get your voice out there as far as it can go. And I figured if I could help and give you a platform, then let's get it. Let's do it. So we created this podcast, and I've been the creator, the editor, the everything. And all I ask you to do is show up and speak. So thank you for showing up and talking.
You're welcome.
I love having you on the show every week. You're the greatest star that I could have ever possibly had on this show. So thank you.
Very sweet. Thank you.
So that happened, and everything happens for a reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
That happened about 8 months ago. We started this podcast together, and we did our first season. It was great. We got into season 2, and I don't know if I don't know when it happened, but I think just hearing all of these stories about your clients and all these other people that have relationships, and there's just this frustration around communication, around money, and we were like, man, there's a serious problem here.
Yeah,
people suck at talking about money.
Yes,
they suck at communicating with their partner. They don't know how to have these conversations without delving into arguments. And if they're not arguing, then they're tiptoeing on eggshells around these conversations and they'd rather just avoid it and not talk about it at all. Man, like it's just such a problem area for couples. And we were like, man, like what can we do about this?
Right.
And we really didn't know.
We didn't know.
We just knew that was a problem area.
Yes, we knew it was a problem area. We knew that we had cracked the code for it for us. We knew that I had helped a lot of entrepreneurs just solo be able to have better understanding of how they communicate with their money. And for some of my clients, I've been able to help them and their spouse come along and actually create more continuity, more clarity in how they connect with each other. So we had some case studies, and it was just one of those things where we were like, well, we are talking together about communicating about money. And this is speaking to people who are couples or who desire to be a couple or who one day want to be a couple. So what if we just kind of lean into that a little bit more? Because surely there are some entrepreneurial couples out there that are who would like to have clarity in how to communicate around their finances. a
And we tried a masterclass about, was it 2-3 months ago?
Yeah.
We did a masterclass that was all about having safe place conversations around money with your partner.
Yep.
And honestly, that was like we talked about like alpha, beta versions, right?
Alpha.
That was an alpha version, right?
Yes.
It was 1.0. It was the first version of our masterclass. And we took a lot of good things away from that.
It was really good.
Number one, we saw that we were right. Like that is a need. There were
Yes.
people that showed up, and we had multiple testimonials of people that are like, oh my gosh, my spouse and I are talking about money in ways that we never talked before. And we're actually talking. Like
Yeah.
we're not yelling and fighting. Like it's incredible what just this one masterclass has done. So we saw, you know what? Okay, this is definitely a need. You know, we did this whole safe place conversation thing, and people walked away from that better than they were before. So we were like, all right, cool. But we still, I don't think we didn't know how that tied into your business.
Right.
Because your business was very much like, hey, I work with, you know, high performing female entrepreneurs who make a ton of money. They just don't know what to do with that money, and they don't know how to manage their money. They don't know how to pay themselves or pay their business or pay their employees. Like they're just, stuff's all over the place.
Right.
And you really help them have organization in their business. But meanwhile, we're over here having communication, you know, master classes, and there's just like, yours was all about the money. Ours, what we're creating, is all about the relationship and the communication. So there was just a divide there. There was a difference in the two business practices.
Not only that, but like even our social medias were separate. So like he had Affluent Marriage Pod that was separate from mine, KG Millionaire Coach. And they were talking about different things and only joining forces when it was coming to the Safe Place Conversations or the podcast. And we didn't really know how to marry those two things together and how it needed to look. And at the same time, we didn't have the space, we didn't have the time to really map it out because children, life.
And full-time jobs.
Business, all that stuff. So this week that we just had in Cancun was really about remapping and reformulating like what it is that we want to do. And this was the first time I feel like that you really got a chance to see inside of my business more than just
100%.
You're a business owner. That's cool. But now I feel like you said it yourself many times, like you clearly understand what it is that I do, clearly understand what business owners are up against in a certain like way. And we did a couple of masterclasses even with some other people called Fire Savvy. And that really gave us common language, right? And I think that really helped too, that we were speaking common language, that we were kind of like redefining what it needed to look like to build our business and how to marry both of our contents together into one very clear vision. So we came back from Cancun after all of this like information, and we were able to actually piece it all together and actually create like, this is it. This is our role. This is my role in the business. This is your role in the business. We know, we have clarity on what we're trying to get our clients to do. We know who our target audience is. And it just made it so much easier for us to have conversations around like, what do we want to talk about?
Right. It was just, I mean, I know this episode where we haven't really talked about it too much, but the idea of one spouse not being committed, I mean, in that regard, you were startup to six figures in this business that you built, and you were fully in and committed. And I was like, hooray, make money.
Yes, you were on the sidelines.
And then
yes.
as your cheerleader. And then even when I gave you the platform, I was like, hey, I put you on the platform and I'm down here. I built it. And I just want you to just do your thing. Go for it. Hooray. And that doesn't mean I didn't believe in you. It's just, there's just a different level of commitment. Like you were the one in the trenches working and helping people. And I was on the side.
Just like, you can get out. You're really great.
Got this. And look, I loathed, and I don't know that I've said this to you before, but I hated the fact that you felt like Dan works his 9 to 5 and he has a ceiling on his income, and what he makes is what he makes. If we're going to do anything or go anywhere or be anything, it's on me to make my business even better, right? You had this pressure added onto you. And I know I told you all the time, babe, don't sweat that, but you did, right?
Yeah.
So I love that now we're together, right? We're both committed. And we did that. Really, one of the examples here is like educating yourself. Like that's one way you can get both partners committed is through education. So going into this, right, we kind of had this blank slate. I know I always say that, you know, the philosopher John Locke had this whole theory on like people being born with a blank slate. And then like, as you have life and experiences, like, you know, you write on the slate and you learn things. But, you know, we really did go into this trip to Cancun as a business with a blank slate. You were startup to six figures in your thing. I'm an educator. But we know that we want to work together to help people with their communication and their relationship and their finances. So we had to really put together a business structure. So education, like 2 weeks before, you know, we did this masterclass with Fire Savvy that really talked to us about our big viral promise. And we didn't even fully come together and put it together until like the day of or the day before.
Because we got it changed.
You know, like, so I think before we used all this stuff about, you know, affluent synergy, which is fine. But as we discussed and talked with people about that, they're like, well, that could be a little confusing for some people. Like, you really need to make sure you're using plain English when you're talking about your big viral promise. So what we ended up coming up with for our big viral promise is that we are your money mastery coaches, which we say in the introduction here of the podcast. And we work with high earning power couples to guide them to financial harmony and improved communication around their finances, utilizing our affluent synergy framework, even if you already talk about money or meticulously budget every expense. So we developed that big viral promise. So when we speak to people and we tell them this is what we do, that's exactly it. Word for word, simple English, like that's how we're going to help you. We're going to guide you to financial harmony with your partner.
Right.
We're going to give you that improved communication around money.
I think one of the things that you just mentioned, right, in terms of helping your spouse get on the same page is you said education. Now understand, we've talked about this on the podcast many times. I've gone through lots of iterations of coaching, right? Spent way over 30 grand from my business in coaching, constantly getting poured into. So having him come into my business, having him show interest in being in my business, I easily, and this might be something you're experiencing in your finances, and you might be one of the two. I easily could have been like, you just got to get up with the pace, right? So I'm going to teach you all these things and you just need to get it because I've had 4 or 5 years of coaching. You need to get up to speed. So let me get you up to speed. Let me like say, here, look at all these videos. And then I want you to have this understanding of what I need to do, what you need to do in my business. Okay. Right. Like I easily could have done that, but what we needed to do and what this is really important to do because he's eager, he wants to be in this, right? So this might hit someone right on the head, right? You might be eager to talk more about your finances with the spouse that maybe has had 10 years of experience meticulously doing all the budget, but you're like, I'm interested now. I'm interested. And you're so excited because you just want this. I'm so excited about doing it. But they're like, don't even worry about it. I've been doing this for the past decade. I got this. You just sit your little, just go sit over there. I got this. That is dismissive, right? So I easily could have done that, but I knew he's interested and understanding how to build a business by understanding how to build it with me. And I have to recognize that it's 5 years of experience of what I've been doing. I can't expect him to do the same thing I did. We don't have the same vernacular. I'm talking about certain things like KPIs and whatever. And he's like, what? Like, whoa, we need to go backwards. So
I still don't know what that is.
By going into, it's okay, we'll get you there. But by going into that masterclass that we went to a couple of weeks ago, I was like, this is what we need to do. This is what we need to start with. We need to start with the same language. So even if it was something that I had heard before, doesn't matter. Even if it was a process that I had heard before, doesn't matter. I want us to start on the same level so that we have the same communication moving forward, so that we have the same language moving forward. Because if we're not speaking the same language, we're going to constantly have tiffs and why are we? Nope. We have to start at the same level. So even it was just beautiful that Cancun happened there too, because he was able to recognize, we learned about different leadership types, right? Collaborator types, right? So I learned that I'm more of a visionary. I like to see big picture, and he is able to be that person who likes details, who can handle details, and he just wants to get out there and do it and be like, yo, I got this. And I'm like, that's good for me to know, and that's good for him to know who we are in this business relationship, so that there's no unnecessary stepping over toes or whatever. We're speaking the same language moving forward, and there's so much more clarity. And that's kind of what needs to happen here as you start to educate yourself. There needs to be the same language being spoken. And that might mean that even the person who's been doing this for a decade needs to stop and be willing to get on the same level with the other person and work their way up. You're still going to get there. You're still going to get to whatever goal you're going to, but I guarantee you're going to get there 10 times faster if you're both speaking the same language than if one person is like, come on, catch up. That's not going to work. That's not going to work at all. That's going to constantly cause even more conflict.
So in having these conversations with these multi-six-figure per month or per year business owners, we developed our business strategy and our business structure for what we have now, right? For the affluent marriage. So we developed our signature offer, which is the creme de la creme, right? And that's for those high earning power couples. If they want to come in, then we are going to take them from where they are now to affluence, right? To financial harmony, to affluent synergy. And we do that through our affluent synergy framework, which is 3 core principles. I liken it to, I said this before, but I liken it to like a road, right? On that road, we have pretty much 3 lines. You've got that midline, you've got your 2 lanes, and then you've got your boundary lines, right? Core principle 1 is the safe place conversations. So that is that midline. That midline, those safe place conversations are going to keep you and your spouse from crossing over that line and killing each other.
Pretty much.
Oncoming traffic, we want to keep you in your lane and them in their lane. These safe place conversations around money are going to keep you from killing each other.
And you're going the same pace, right? Like I said, because there's no necessity. We're both doing this together. We're all in this together.
Then we have core principle 2 and 3, which is your financial strategy and your financial routine. And those are like your 2 boundary lines. They're going to keep you on track. They're going to keep you from veering off and going down an exit too soon or too late. We're going to keep you on the path. And when you have all of these things together, that's when you begin to walk in wealth and live in love, right? That financial harmony. So that is like the signature offer. We're going to take you through that. It's going to take about 3 months, 12 classes, and we are going to get you to financial harmony. Now, look, we don't do miracles, right? We can't turn water into wine, but we can take your bad communication with money from bad to fine.
Oh,
right?
Look at you. You're really good at that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we can change things for you, guaranteed. The beautiful thing about this is that's our signature offer. I love that you were talking so much about language and how that's so critical and pivotal to be on the same page and have that same language so that we can move 10 steps faster and you're not just looking at me like I'm an idiot, and dragging me.
I was never looking at you like an idiot, but
I'm just making a point. But for other people, they're like, like, where were you 10 years ago when I started doing all
That's
this? Like,
not necessary.
Why are you trying to jump on this financial thing now? Like, I got this. Don't worry. Like, no, you didn't handle it like that. We offer a masterclass every single month. Every third week of the month, we are offering an Affluent Synergy masterclass.
Yes.
And our mission with this masterclass and with this business, our mission is to empower you to take control of your shared finances and strengthen your relationship with aligned goals through communication.
And the main thing that we're going to accomplish in the masterclass is that you're able to understand your money language, because every person has a money language. It's different. A unique money language. And it's not just saver, spender. Like, that's not what it is, right? Because that's so broad. There's a specific language in how you are speaking to your money. And we're going to help you identify the archetype that you fall into. And as you start to identify what it is, what you might have been told is that maybe your archetype is too blank, right? Maybe that you spend too, or that you do too, or that you are too protective, or whatever that happens to be. And we're here to tell you that that's not necessarily a bad thing. Let's understand why you feel this way, and let's understand how to leverage those strengths in each of those archetypes. So then as you and your partner are working together, you can leverage the strengths of each of your archetypes to create more synergy in your financial conversations. Who doesn't want that?
Right. You're going to find out that you've been fighting about money, or there's been tension about money, or you're avoiding conversations about money because you speak two different money languages.
Yes.
And you're not seeing things eye to eye. And our goal is to bring awareness to what their money language is and what your money language is. So when they say things, you're like, oh,
that's where that's coming from.
I get it. That you say that because this is the way you speak money, the way you view money. That's a characteristic of your archetype. Oh,
that's where that's coming from.
And I feel this way about what you're saying because that's the characteristics of my money language or my money archetype. Oh,
yeah,
it makes so much sense. So when you understand, like, I don't care how long you've been married to your spouse or to your partner, you don't know their money archetype. You don't know the characteristics of their archetype. You're going to find out that there's something you didn't know about your partner. And it's going to leave you wondering, man, what else did I not know that I didn't know?
Right. And we're so excited because when we finally figured out that is what we're really, really good at.
And what's funny is we developed this archetype thing maybe 6 months ago.
Like
it's just been chilling in a Google Doc.
And we've done it for we do it all the time, but we just didn't have a name for it. That's the best thing about, having time without anybody going, mom, dad. Like, we actually had time to really map it out. And we're so excited to share this with you guys. I just will say, I'm not going to name prices because it could change based on when you're listening to this, but it is a paid masterclass. So when you go to it, you're going to have to pay for the specific masterclass. It'll be between, it'll be a day. It might even be longer by the time you decide to see this because we might tweak things around.
I think it will be, if I'm being honest. I've already drafted the outline and yeah.
You think it'll be longer?
I do.
Okay. So I think it'll be more than 2 days, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But this is the origin story. This is our alpha test. So if you're watching this and you happen to see something different, it's because we're after our beta test.
Spark Connections, our first masterclass.
That's true. That was our first one.
That'll be alpha.
So all that to say, it's going to be amazing and you need to be a part of it. So if you and your spouse, if you're like, yeah, this is something we'd love to sit down and like really think about, and you want to see clear understanding in your communication around your finances, take a chance on us. Get into this.
Take a chance.
That's why I said it.
Did you?
Yeah.
I was thinking about The Office.
Yeah.
So how do they take a chance? Where do they go if they wanted to be like, I'm curious about this masterclass?
So you're going to
look it up.
Yeah. So you're going to go to theaffluentmarriage.com. So theaffluentmarriage.com, and it will take you directly to the site where you're able to see, and it'll just take you directly to here's what it's going to be. Here's the dates that it's on, and it'll have you fill out something, and once you're in, it'll give you all the information as to how to get into the group to be able to see the live stream.
And to give you another way, if you're watching this on, Spotify or Apple Podcasts or YouTube or wherever, in the description, it always says you can click to follow the Affluent Marriage Podcast, or you can follow KG Millionaire Coach. But it's going to give you a description in the description box about how to access one of our profiles. And it's right there in our bio. The link is in the bio.
It's in our link tree.
For sure. So today has been all about commitment to being affluent when one spouse is not committed. You've listened to both of us talk about how we're wildly committed to this new business model. And a lot of it came from you leading by example, which is one of the ways that you can bring along that person who's not committed. It came from you, holding my hand and walking through that education with me, not just like shoving it down my throat and saying, read this book. Yeah,
because I easily could have been like, you need to take this masterclass and come tell me when you're done. But I sat there with you.
To be fair, actually, you did say, hey, there's this group, here's this masterclass. If you have time this week, you could watch it, and then we'll do this other masterclass. And did I ever get around to watching the one that you told me to do solo? No, it didn't happen. There wasn't any it didn't feel like there's any time, right? But then when you did it with me,
we made time,
right? You need open and honest communication. So all the time while we were in Cancun and all that, like we're being open with each other. We're being honest. Like, dude, I don't know what a KPI is. Like, you can't embarrass me. Like, I'm going to ask the stupid questions.
Oh, I want you to.
Right. Let's see.
What else? Professional advice. I mean, we were around all of those experts and there was no dumb question. I asked a lot of questions. At one point we were on a boat and one of the leaders that was there, the coaches, and I said, Daniel, tell her our big viral promise so that you can get feedback on it. And I just put him on the spot and he's like, right now. And I'm like, yep, this is when you do it. There's nobody here. This is the time to just ask the dumb question. This is the time to kind of like, be vulnerable. And like, if you don't take a shot, when are you going to know? And lo and behold, that was
you miss every shot you don't take.
That was the market research we needed to tweak it even more so. So yes.
So definitely, pursue that advice.
Professional advice.
If you're trying to help someone become committed. And again, these are our last two, maintain respect and patience, which is something you did the whole way. Because I am very much an infant here in this empire, whereas you've been doing this for a while. And just, check in with your partner, see where they're at, see how they're doing. And these are just a few of the ideas and ways that, you can help that uncommitted partner become a little bit more committed with your goals.
It's a patience thing. So
it is a patience thing.
Hopefully you have loved hearing more about our like experience in Cancun.
I love it.
If you are interested in connecting with that group that we're a part of and you are a high performing entrepreneur and you want to look in more networking, check out the Success Tribe. It's called the Intentional Success Tribe. Check out Deanna Jean. Tell her Kimberly Graham and Dan Graham sent you. She'll love to hear that. So check out Fire Savvy as well. FYRESAVVY. Check them out. If you are interested, let them know Kim and Dan sent you.
And check out our masterclass.
Don't forget, I was going to say that.
All right.
Check out our masterclass. That's going to be amazing to help you bring your spouse along and learn about your archetypes when it comes to your money communication. And so check that out at theaffluentmarriage.com and get yourself set up so that we can be ready for October 25th at 7 p.m. is our next one. And so we'd love to see you guys there.
Yeah, that's by the time they hear this, that's going to be 9 days away, which is incredible. Guys, go live in love, walk in wealth. Take care, y'all.
Bye.